Sheriff, you were in your fifth term in office as Sheriff of Butler County, and you went to Washington, D.C., along with the National Sheriff's Association. And you usually, if I'm not mistaken, don't you usually meet with the president?
The president refuses to meet with the national sheriffs for 3 years. We have a hierarchy of president. There's 3,300 sheriffs in the United States, and he refuses to meet for the past 3 years with our association, which represents 3,300 sheriffs. Or, like, get this, Glenn, he won't meet with the police chiefs either. None. And we had our meeting and training. Director Ray met with a group of sheriffs. Then the sheriffs came back and discussed with us what he said. And he said the director of the FBI said the same thing to Congress a week before that. He said that there's more red flags going off now than before 9/11. And there was only like 12 or 14 people that attacked us then. There's over 10 million people here. These are people that are wanting to do us harm. This is what we were told. More red flags going off now. The director also said that the Chinese are attacking our infrastructure, such as our electrical grid, that hell, it goes out when the weather's bad. But it was built in the 1960s. They're trying to get into our phone system, our electrical system. They're trying to hack communications on everything. They're trying to, our sheriff's office is the 8th largest in Ohio of 88. 400,000 population, 500 employees. We dispatch for probably 20 different agencies. And our system was hacked by the Ukrainians before they were sort of our friend. But listen, they hacked our system and wanted a ransom. Now, and we were down for 3 months, and you're wondering, why would they attack us? They're attacking everybody. If anybody that's listening to this, your communications, universities, your water, your sewer, your election process, we get 5 times a day the Chinese try to get us, and 3 times
in Butler
a day,
County.
Yes, and 3 times a day the Iranians. Now, and then there's others. They try to get into your system. They want ransom. And if you listen to what Director Ray said to Congress and to everybody else in the country, but sometimes people don't listen, he said for every one person that works at the FBI that is in charge of cyber, the Chinese have 50. So it's 50 to 1. We have one person, they have 50 to every one that we have. And the reasoning for this is because disruption in America. If they go in, they want us to be busy, which we are, fighting 2 wars or involved in 2 wars, supplying all of our equipment, all of our guns, all of our treasury. And these people don't like us already, and we're killing them on their land, or they feel we're causing it. We've got 10 million people here in the United States that we don't know who the hell they are or where they're at. And again, we've had 20,000 Chinese military age adults come to the United States. Just in California, 20,000 so far this year. And there was like 300 in one day in California. That's just one sector. The Russians are coming in. I think the Chinese are coming in.
Yeah.
And they're destroying our country. The Chinese are shipping the fentanyl to Mexico. They're shipping it in. Now we have a northern border in Ohio, okay, Glenn? And they pulled a lot of the personnel from there to send them to the southern border. So now we got more drugs coming in from Canada into the United States, which Ohio parts with, and Michigan. And the drugs are coming in, the people are coming in, and I wanted people to know we're going to start training my personnel, and we're going to train the civilians. 30 people isn't much, but we're going to train them what to do when. Like, how do you get out of a building that is collapsed? How do you get out of that building? We're trying to tell people, and this is a university that's come and teach this class. We had it filled up within 30 minutes. Everybody. I'm in sheriff's training today, and other sheriff's agencies are getting phone calls. What can they do? Now, I don't want you to think I'm Doomsday Jones or Chicken Little. And I tell people, you can do what the Israelis done. They have a real strict gun policy in their country. You're not allowed to have guns unless you're in the military or the police. The police is the only thing that saved that country. What we were told, they were killed, they were murdered. One police station, the terrorists came in and killed 30 people, 30 policemen. The policemen only had handguns, and they didn't have enough ammunition. And the same people that came in there are the same people that are here in our country. And when they say 10 million people are here, go ahead.
I was going to say, not all 10 million, but it only took 19 to do the World Trade Center. And in Canada, it was just announced that they are now going to take refugees from Gaza without any litmus test on anything. Well, our northern border is wide open. And, I don't think that you're preaching fear. I mean, people might be afraid of this, but you should be informed so you understand what we're facing. You'll understand what we're facing, and then perhaps you'll take action in your own community. I mean, I know here where I live, we have been talking about what do we do if there's a food shortage? What do we do if there's problems? How's the community going to come together? You need to do this, because if they just forget about the 10 million people that are here, which I agree with you is a massive threat. But if they just hack into our water systems, if they hack into our communications, you don't have communications in America for a week and a half. What do you think's going to happen? You have 72 hours before society starts to break down, because in 72 hours, the bad guys realize, wow, nobody's coming, and they take charge. It's not good.
Look, the police is all we have, your local police. So, and look, the National Guard's not coming. The military's not coming. And people think, well, the military, the National Guard, they won't let this happen. They're not coming. You're on your own. Imagine people that are listening right now. When you lose your cell phone and you can't find it for an hour, you puke. You freak out. These people are working. And seriously, you go, we live on them. And people, imagine when you can't communicate. I've been in places, Katrina, where there was no electricity due to a natural disaster. And when you don't have electricity, you can't pump water. You can't pump gas. You can't go to the bank because the bank computers are all down. You can't go to the store. People freak out because you got enough groceries. You go to the store once a week. Listen, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I'm not teaching doomsday or Chicken Little. These people are here. The lady that went to the church, Olstein's church, she targeted that church, what I seen on the interviews. She had Palestine wrote on her rifle, and she targeted the church. She took her child with her, I assume, so they wouldn't shoot her. But they had no choice because she was going for a bigger target. And this is one person.
Yeah. And
we know it's coming, Glenn, and it's here. And these people, the Chinese are so good at this. They have actually police stations within the United States. The Chinese do.
I know they do.
They have safe houses.
I know they do.
They have safe houses in every state. And if you live in a rural setting, you think, hey, I'm okay. You won't be okay, because what they're trying to do, we were told, we should all look at our local elections. They want to get in the heartland because they know that will create chaos. If you can get into New York and all, they expect that. And when it happens, it doesn't shock them after 9/11. But to get into rural America, different story. And that will send a shockwave. And again, I'm going to train my people. They're going to have rifles in every car, which they do now. They're going to have multiple magazines. And we're going to train differently. And I've got people calling from all over the country. We've had 14 million views on this. We've been on your show 2 days in a row. You've talked about it. And I'm just one sheriff of 3,300, and we all know this. But when you stick your neck out like this, people attack you. Everything that I have said director of the FBI has said to Congress, none of this is a secret. And and if you look at the tape of him talking to Congress, he said the exact same thing. And the reason is because they, during 9/11, the FBI knew these people were here training, but none of the rest of us knew. No locals knew. They communicate now, and it's all on us, and you got to do something about it. And what you got to do is when you're in a church, you got to look out because for some reason people attack these churches. And then we got our homegrown terrorists. So we're in a bad spot. And again, 10 million people. They're not all here to do us harm. But these Chinese, hey, and I could go on, Glenn.
Yeah. So let me take a quick break with you, and then I want you to tell the other sheriffs that might be listening what you're doing in particular, because it's my understanding you want the citizenry to understand they are the first responders. We'll go there in 60 seconds. The Sheriff of Butler County, Ohio, his name is Richard K. Jones. He has recently been in Washington. The leaders of the Sheriff's Association met with the head of the FBI, Christopher Wray. He said exactly the same thing he's been saying in Congress, but nobody is paying attention to it. The press barely even listened to him while he was saying this. And it is not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when we are going to be hit hard on the inside of America. And part of that has to do, I think a big part of it has to do with we don't have any idea who's even here. We know that people on the terrorist lists have been caught, like 300, I think, have been caught trying to. How many have we missed? And how many are already here? And that's, as he said, even our own homegrown bad guys. We are in a very vulnerable situation right now. So, Sheriff, I've been reading what you have put out, and I know that you have ordered AR-15 rifles into every single cruiser, not just a few, more ammunition, more magazines. You've ordered more hazmat equipment. You're planning on expanding your Citizens on Patrol program. What does that mean? What is that?
Well, Citizens on Patrol used to be and still is. We would volunteers, people would retire, they'd want something to do, we'd send them to a basic Citizens on Patrol Academy, a couple weeks where they can work the radio and they could be our eyes and our ears and talk to the community. We're relooking at that, and that we need to add people to that. People are so busy. It was always retirees before. We have a special deputy group, and we need eyes and ears because this is here, and that's what we're going to do. Listen, we're training our trainers so we can train more people. We can't train 400,000, but we're going to let people know, and we're going to try to get some stuff online to where you can sign up. Not everybody can or will. And we want our citizenry to be aware. If you're in a building, like I said earlier, the building collapses, how do you get through the drywall and get out? When you're in a church and there's a shooting, how do you get out? What do you do for safety? Take cover. And you go lock yourself in a door, a restroom door, and your alternatives are, you got two. One, try to get out. The other is you have to beg for your life if they come in. A third is you can have a weapon, and if you're allowed to carry a weapon into that area. Those are the only three alternatives. First one is get out.
Right.
The second one is if you can't, beg for your life. And the other one is you have a weapon for your own safety. And so we're looking at everything. We're trying to get our trainers trained to where we can train more people. And if anybody is looking at this, and it's just not the sheriffs in the country. The sheriffs are hired and fired by the citizens. Different than police chiefs. Police chiefs are appointed and by boards, and they have bosses. The sheriffs work for the people, and we refer to them as constitutional sheriffs. They work for the people. Their only boss is the people every time there's an election. They're not appointed, okay? And if you don't do your job, they'll fire you. We're fortunate that the sheriffs, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat sheriff or a Republican sheriff. We're all in this together, and we're trying to figure it out. But the government, they were talking about drones. The locals have no technology. Hell, the terrorists buy their drones off Amazon, And if you watch the wars and the battles that are going on, all done with drones for the most part. And the government can only do so much. But if you're the local government, at most police departments and fire departments have drones. So
this is the way that America was built, closest to you. You are the ones that are responsible for your own community. Sheriff, thank you so much. We'll talk again. Good luck.